Mike, what are you doing?
Checking out my competition.
Your competition for what?
Racing. See who's faster.
What are you gonna race at?
My AMG. Dude, my AMG is going together today. The engine is back. It's all assembled and it's ready to go into the car. Everything's bolted up. We're gonna drop it in and we're gonna start that thing up. Break it in a little bit and then smoke both of these cars. That's
sure
right.
About that? You sure about
That's
that?
right. Yes, I am sure. Let's go. Here it is. It's the completely built race engine with the PTG 1000 horsepower capable plus turbos. Everything is all ready to go. This thing, when we get it in the car, will be 1000 horsepower at the wheels in my AMG GT. All bolted together with the drivetrain, the transmission, torque tube, all that stuff is ready to go into the car. We are also able to get the KW springs on the car. So now we have the KW coilovers on the car all the way around. And we got some CSF coolers. So those are all bolted in. We still have to put those in the car, but they're all assembled. I am so excited to get this car done. The guys at PTG, they really killed it. They put this thing together incredibly quickly. I thought it was completely trash. I did not think there was any way we were gonna be able to save this engine, but they were. Machined it out, put new sleeves in it, new pistons, new rods, all this new stuff, ported head. This thing's gonna rip. So when I first got this abandoned AMG GTS, it was in really, really poor shape, especially the engine. It had been overheated so badly that the block was warped, the heads were warped, and everything inside just a mess of a milkshake. So it has come a long way now, and it is ready to smoke some Lambos. So we're doing a bit of guessing here because I've never put one of these engines back into an AMG GT. This is actually the only AMG besides the Time Attack car that I built, that I've worked on. Figuring this stuff out as we go. There we go, we got that almost in sync now.
Come on, Tim.
Using my clutch foot.
Clutch foot's a little slow.
Man, I cannot wait to drive this car. I haven't had a cool daily driver in a long time. I mean, I like my Cayman, but it's slow.
This engine's a little bit more tricky to put in because even though it looks like it has a ton of room under the hood, there's actually like a ton of stuff in the bay that separates it. Kind of like an S2000 actually, except an S2000 you can pull it out from the top.
Except this car is cool.
No, S2000.
It's not a Honda.
Dang, Mike, you're the minority here, brother.
Sorry, dude, I just don't
You're
like
gonna get ganged up on.
Whoa. It's all right, that was just way more on the upright.
We're good, it's metal.
We have the lower control arms off because we had to put the engine on the subframe, so we had to disconnect the suspension. But that also allowed us to pull the shocks out easily so we could change and put these KW spring coilover kit on there. Should be, I hope, about an inch lower, maybe inch and a half. Not overly slammed because I don't want this car to ride super rough and hit the bump stops. I want it to handle well. So I'll be able to smoke people in the straight line and around the corners. That's the goal. So this is what I'm kind of set on right now. All stock body, but it's got the front splitter carbon scoops around the inlets for the coolers, side skirts, a little bit bigger wing on the back, and those wheels. I really like those wheels. Like a 10 spoke. I think it looks really good on the car. And the other thing I really like is the color. That matte gray silver on this car, I think looks killer. Plus it's kind of the Mercedes style color, right? The silver arrow. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Hear me out, Mike. If you wide body it, you gotta go J style. Deep dish.
I'm into that for sure.
3-piece SSR Minervas. You know, here's it on a Mark IV with extra deep dish. That's not very good quality, but
yeah, that is a low pixel. I get it. I don't know if that's me. If I did do a wheel that style, I think I would go more with like a one-piece wheel, not a TE, but something along those lines. So it's JDM, but I think a one-piece wheel is gonna look better on this car. If it's a super wide body, then you can actually get a proper size lip. But when you put like a 3-piece wheel on a narrow body car, you get these
terrible,
you get these little like 1-inch lips, and it's just like, it doesn't look that impressive.
3-piece and 2-piece wheels are meant to have deep dishes.
Now, Mike, hear me out.
What are you looking
JDM wheels.
You know, I did have some wheels like that. Back in the day, on my RX-7 drift car, there were actually Mercedes wheels. Like,
dude, those look so good.
And they were polished chrome, like almost a whole, like almost this flat face, right?
Yeah.
Just little tiny cutouts. I would run those even though it's the wrong bolt pattern, a couple millimeters smaller for Mercedes. So they like the studs would be like kind of, I wouldn't recommend it, but I did it and it was fine. It worked. It worked for a drift car. I'm still undecided. I don't know.
Mike thinks that this car is going to be faster than the Senna. What do you think?
Than the Senna?
Than the Senna. Straight line.
I can probably agree. The 720, I don't know. The 720 makes a lot of power. I don't know what Mike's gonna leave this thing at. I'm assuming it's gonna be pretty safe.
You forget that I can change the maps on the fly and an app on my phone.
But you know, this car's heavier than a 720, I think.
Is it? I don't know. There's a lot of guessing going on there, Tim. You know that this car is a lot lighter than the new M5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, keep coming. Yeah, that is very close, but it looks like it'll clear. Same thing on this side. We got the sensor over here. Oh, about 5 millimeters gap there. So I think we're lined up in the center. We've got about 3 more inches to put the engine up. It's getting close. Anti-seize on these bolts.
So the subframe doesn't get locked in the car.
And nothing likes going in dry, so a little lube goes a long way. Looking at this line right here, the vacuum hose for the brake booster, it lined itself up.
Oh, that's cool. So if we lower it enough, it'll go in.
All right, Tim, you're a gold man. I know you're a jewelry guy. I got an idea for you. Honda S2000 watch.
You know, I was debating getting another S2000, but this might suffice.
This might be good enough.
This might suffice.
It's an S2000 watch.
That's terrible. Why an S2000? Why not get like something cool?
S2000s are cool, brother.
I have to thank today's sponsor, PDS Debt. Yeah, I said it, debt, and it's really stressful. In fact, if your wife's listening right now and she hears the word debt, she's probably looking at you saying, we need to talk about debt. And she's right, we need to talk about debt. No judgment, I speak from experience. It's so easy to get into debt. You see all the lifestyle things on TV, you want to take that vacation, and they lied to you. They told you, just get a loan. Leverage equity in your house. Well, guess what? Your house is no longer worth what you thought it was worth. Guess what? That line of credit interest rate is now doubled. That $1,000 payment you're making is all interest, and there's no way out until now. If you owe $10,000 on a credit card to make your minimum payments 1% plus interest, it will take you 29 and a half years to pay off that card. And that's over $19,000 in interest charges. PDS is a smarter way of doing it. PDS Debt is gonna take all those credit card balances, loans, all those things you got going on that are stressing you out, put into one simple payment, and in most cases, a lower interest rate, paying off your debt sooner. In a lot of cases, a lower overall monthly payments. All you have to do right now is click the link below, do the questionnaire, and they're gonna get back to you with some options. It's that simple. Biggest thing you need to do right now is stop doing what you're doing and make a change. Otherwise, you're gonna be paying that debt off the rest of your life and getting nowhere. Get the solution, hit up PDS Debt, see what they can do for you. Because my God, financial stress is like one of the worst stresses in the world. Believe me, I've been there many times in my life. Stop waiting, start saving. It only takes 30 seconds. Go to pdsdebt.com/DDE. That's pdsdebt.com/DDE. Also, last thing when it comes to debt, stop buying stupid shit. You don't need it. Happiness comes from here, not from all the dumb you have and the luxury items. It makes no difference. Happiness is freedom. Use PDS Debt to your advantage, get out of debt, and stay the out of it.
We got the subframe bolts all snugged up, so now we're in the back of the car and we're putting the transmission mount bolts in. So we got the mounts in place, and now we're just trying to line up the bolts that actually go through the subframe into the mount. So once these are lined up, we can tighten them down. We can pull these jack tables out of the way and start hooking up all the other stuff. The engine has been out of the car for quite a few months now, but it is back in. Everything went actually really smooth. I don't think we broke any connectors or smashed anything, so probably another 6 hours for us, 15 minutes for you guys, and we're ready to fire this thing up.
Have you ever driven like an AMG GT at all?
I think I might have, but it's been a long time, and I don't really remember what it was like. So
Well, hopefully you like it.
I hope I like it. I do hope I like it. I just spent a lot of money on this car. I found what ate this stuff.
You found the creature?
It didn't make it.
What? No.
Oh, damn. That's crazy.
Apparently, eating all of that insulation is bad for your health. Homeboy did not make it.
Why does it look like it exploded? I have to extract it.
Remove him from a vehicle.
Squatter's rights. This is his car.
That's wild.
How did we not see it before? Like, did it fall down from somewhere? Because we pressure washed.
Yeah, we pressure washed the whole car.
I was looking over there at all the wires, making sure that nothing was chewed through before we put all this stuff together.
That was all the crunching noises we heard. Nah, he just switched for a long time. Should we bury him?
You probably didn't live a very long life because you chose to go into the engine compartment of what would become my AMG GT. So you chewed some stuff up, now you're dead.
We have a shovel somewhere, but You know, that's too much work.
It's equivalent to 6 feet deep for this guy.
Is this guy getting a plaque too, or not?
Nah. That dude ate my car. So we got these new coolers from CSF, so it's about 30% more efficient. It's quite a bit bigger actually, but it fits in the factory location. So it's not the radiator, so it's not gonna cool the engine water down, but it's actually cooling the intercooler water. So these are air to water intercoolers. Whenever you make boost, you're compressing air, which makes a lot of heat. Heat is not the friend of your engine. The hotter the air is that's going in, the thinner the air is. So you want denser air, colder air, and you're gonna get that by cooling that charge down as much as possible. With these bigger charge cooler radiators, we're gonna keep the air temps down quite a bit, which helps you make more power, and it eliminates like detonation and pinging and all that kind of stuff. With any time you upgrade stuff on the engine like turbos and you're trying to make a lot more power, the rest of the cooling system needs to get upgraded as well to match that. Otherwise you're gonna have heat soak. It'll run really good for a couple minutes, then it's gonna get really hot. The ECU is gonna see the air temps are super high and it's just gonna start pulling power and turning the timing down. So these are gonna help out quite a bit.
So I'm just cleaning out these oil lines because our ultrasonic cleaner decided to unalive itself. Now I have to do it the manual way, but just brake cleaner and then blow it out with air. And then hopefully all the oil is out of this line.
What would happen if it wasn't?
On the bad side is there's some debris in here and it goes back through Mike's engine. Mike's new engine is no longer new.
We got a problem. This line does not go in after. It has to go on the engine before the subframe gets put up. I think we gotta drop the subframe down again. Hopefully we can only drop it down a few inches and get this to go in. Cross my fingers. This is what I was talking about, making sure everything was in the right spot. Everything was in the right spot, except this was missing. Well, gotta go backwards a bit, but it is what it is. Let's just get it done.
Hopefully we don't have to move too much just to drop it down a little bit. Well, remember when I said hopefully we don't have to take too much off? The suspension's gonna have to come off again. Forgot about that part.
So there's a bolt right here above the arm. You can't get to it, so I gotta pull the control arms back off.
Hopefully not have to pull the shocks and stuff back off. It's not looking very good, to be honest.
Like it goes right there. So I think we got it in position enough.
This is standard Mercedes procedure. Both hoses are in. It looks like the situation is resolved for now. Who knows what... Actually, I'm not gonna say anything because... so far so good. Nothing has gone wrong. Everything has been great. Yeah, we're moving along as scheduled.
It's in now. So we've got these two dry sump lines that run to the tank that's in the fender well. The one in the rear is actually something that you can get in and out while the subframe is in there, but that front one is just not possible. So we had to drop it down. We had to pull the motor mount off. At least we were able to do it in like 15 minutes, not have to completely go backwards and pull everything back apart. So we're able to get the snake in there. It's in there now, it's all bolted up. I just hope we don't run into any more of those issues. That'd be a bummer. There's no info on this car. I can't find anybody who pulled the engine out and actually like showed you how to do it. So we just have to figure it out on our own. It's a learning experience. So we've run into another problem. The steering shaft, two pieces with a U-joint in the middle, and it's got a bracket with a rubber bushing and a bearing inside of it. Well, the rubber bushing popped out. It's so packed in there in the car, we had to remove the steering shaft completely from the car to try to get that rubber bushing to push back in. We did have an issue when we pulled the engine out. The steering shaft got stuck on the steering rack and it wouldn't slide off, so it pulled that bushing out. I took it off, I put it all back together, bent the bracket back straight because it was a little tweaked. Everything looked good, and then at some point when we were moving the engine in and out, it got popped out again. Starting to feel like I should have bought a Porsche. So there's this little bearing and it's like isolated in the rubber, popped out, pop it back in.
And hope it doesn't come back out.
And yeah, like, come on, give me a break. This is a giant giant puzzle to get all of these hoses and everything in here. Like right there, there's like, I don't know, at least 50 hoses that are all crossing over, going between either the water cooling system for the engine or the water cooling system for the intercoolers or air lines and vent tubes and power steering, and it's just a mess. And trying to figure out how all that stuff went took a while, but I think we got it all plugged in. Everything looks okay now. We're just actually putting in the air boxes. We just put in some new filters. We should be able to start it.
Tim, are you excited to hear this thing fire up?
I am. Do need to get a battery, so we will have to make a run to the parts store, pick up a battery. I think that's it. I got all the other fluids from FCP Euro, so I got a ton of oil and filters and all that stuff sitting over there. I hope in a couple hours, I hope this thing fires up.
Dude, I'm so excited. We're gonna find out pretty soon if Mike should have just bought a Porsche.
If I just beat myself up for no reason. Hopefully not. So right now we're just installing the new turbo air inlet pipes. This was the old hose, and that's the new one. So they're basically identical. They plug in the same way, quite a bit bigger now with the bigger turbos. So we're gonna pop these on there, and then we've got some new carbon inlet tubes. Look at that. That's pretty sick, because PTG makes all this stuff in-house, like at their facility, which is pretty rad. And they actually still use the factory air boxes. They tried other air boxes and everything just made less power. These ones have the good filters in them, and then they have this duct that goes up to the front here and gets fed with cold, fresh air. So it's actually like ram air from the front, which helps it make a lot more power. So no need to change the boxes. We're just gonna put these new carbon inlets in there. It'll be looking good. A little bit of bling under the hood. Brace on here, bracket.
What's the pouring strategy?
Just don't spill.
A little sideways action?
Mm-hmm. Get some air through the top. Yep, so you don't get that chug, chug, chug.
No chugging around here.
Nah, it's not what we do around here. Stay focused.
This car is gonna be icy, man. With the extra cooling, all this cooling.
Extra cold. All right. Uh-oh. Definitely leaking. Where's it leaking from?
It's right in the middle. Huh? It's right in the middle.
So one of the hoses didn't get plugged in all the way. We were trying to figure everything out. We kept putting the intercoolers in and out with all of these lines crossing over, and then going, no, it doesn't go like that. This line goes above this line. So we'd unclip it and move it, and then we kind of just put everything in place and got everything in there. And that one hose didn't get locked all the way in. So it was probably like sitting in there a bit, but not completely clicked in, so it looked like it was in. Yes, it's in there now. At least it popped out now. It didn't pop out later when the car is hot and just like blow hot coolant everywhere and possibly damage something. So not great, but it's better that it happened now. Should I get my arm out now? Okay. Man, I hope this thing is just ultra reliable and I don't have to work on it a lot, because it is not easy to work on. Oh man, almost.
That was close.
Mike's lithium battery is not coming back to life, so it's time to get a new one. And then also we gotta get some more coolant. Somehow some of it ended up on the floor. So
Somehow.
It wasn't me this time.
All right, so right now we're adding break-in oil. It's not standard synthetic oil, it's actually non-synthetic, and this has stuff added to it. Help it have a lot of lubricity for the bearings, but also to make it so it's not too slippery to where the rings won't seat with the cylinder walls. Because if you guys remember, we replaced the cylinders completely, so they machined out the factory cylinders, which are aluminum and have a coating. Those got machined out, and a steel sleeve got pressed in and machined to the right size for the new pistons. So we got new pistons in there, we have new rings and new cylinders, and they all need to kind of wear in together. The rings kind of need to just seat properly onto the cylinder walls. When you build a new engine, you run break-in oil for 500 to 1,000 miles to let those rings and cylinders, pistons and everything seat in properly. Then we'll flush it out. We'll put some new oil and put some liquid moly synthetic in there, change the filter, and then it'll be good to go. I'm off today. All right, so we got the OBD2 tuning port and cable, so I can hook it up to my laptop and then do remote tune with Steve from PTG. So I'm gonna get this all ready so that when Tim shows up with a battery, we can plug it in. Call Steve right now and make sure that he's gonna be ready to get this thing tuned up so we can fire it up.
All right, Tim, what do you got?
Some brake cleaner. I already put the coolant inside and the battery.
How much did the battery cost?
Like $230. It's heavy too.
Yeah?
It's way heavier than the stock one. If I can curl it, it's not 70 pounds. All right, it might be 70 pounds.
It's bigger than the other one. Let's see if that'll fit in here.
Oh, do we have a situation?
Is it the same size as the one that came out?
Oh, the accurate test.
It's not gonna fit.
So I shall return.
Yeah, so the battery that I just gave you,
Yeah.
that size, that's what's gotta go in. This was just a guess off of the internet.
Oh,
The internet told me it was this one.
Gotcha.
The internet is wrong.
You
Who
know?
would have thought? I didn't think that was possible.
While Tim's out getting the battery, I wanted to put the car down on the ramps and just see what the ride height's at, because it might be way too low.
Yeah.
Because we just swapped the springs out. There were no notes in the instructions for like starting ride height, so we guessed. And by guessing, I mean went as low as we possibly could. So we'll see where we're at.
All right, we got the ramps underneath all four. Ready to see it?
I'm ready. I'm just hoping that it's perfect because it's kind of a pain to adjust the ride height on this. Well, it's definitely not too low. I think the front might just need to settle down a little bit. I think it's okay for now. Get the car running. I really want to drive the car. If I can get it running and not have a bumper on headlights, I don't care about any of that stuff. I just want to be able to drive the car around the block, just to drive it. Like, I've been waiting so long. I've done pretty much everything I can do until Tim gets back with the battery. I'm just kind of going over the car and seeing what else needs some upgrades. I actually got some new brake rotors and pads from FCP Euro, but I'm just so excited to drive the car. I'm not even worried about putting the new rotors and pads on right now. I'll do that later. I'll put the bumper on, the headlights, all that stuff later. But I just want to be able to see all of the connections to all the coolers because we removed every single one of these hoses. So there's a chance that they could leak. So instead of putting everything back together and all the covers on top of the engine, I'll just leave it off right now. That way it's easy to get to if we do have an issue, which I hope we don't, but there's always a possibility.
Second time's a charm. Bro.
Welcome back, Tim.
That's the saying, right?
I thought it was third time.
Oh, don't jinx it.
Let's see if it fits first. It appears that it fits.
If the battery fits, then
It's good. It's gonna start up. Everything's gonna be good.
It's good. Let's see.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
Battery works. This key works. That's good.
Why are the rear still folded in?
bro, it hasn't been on in so long.
I know.
What does it say?
Nothing. It just says take your key from the ignition. All right, well, I think everything looks ready to hook up the laptop and call Steve and have him put the tune in so we can attempt to fire this thing up.
I was getting all worked up.
Yeah, apparently it won't even start
Oh, wow.
without putting the tune in.
Probably good that we do that then.
Yeah, it's probably important. I didn't ask him what would happen if I tried to start it, but
So let's not find out.
let's not.
Wait to hear this thing start up.
Tail lights.
Oh, yeah, dude. You can't.
That was awesome.
Deep fried taillight. I actually really like the dash in this car.
It is pretty cool.
It's not overcomplicated.
Yeah.
Not a huge 40-inch screen.
Yeah, you know me. I'm old school. I like the analog gauges better than that whole like flat screen thing that's on all the new cars. So
Yeah.
I like seeing the needle.
It looks good.
Yeah.
It's classic too, and it's like, especially this car's not brand new, but it's not old either.
Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't look
It's a
bad.
2017, so
Yeah.
it's not that old.
No.
Yeah. I like it. It's good. It's a good car. It's a good car, Mark.
Woo!
Yeah, it's the full, what do they call it? Glass roof, panoramic roof or something?
Yeah. I didn't even know you had that in this car. What is that?
I think it's like a little place your hand down here and you can scroll. So you're not like your hands just floating around here as you're scrolling. You can like place your hand.
That's
and-
luxury, man.
That's right.
That's what you get for that Mercedes.
Well,
man.
look at this little shifter here. That's kind of goofy.
You could have like the truck thing where you spin it into
Oh,
gear.
yeah.
Or you can have like a fake, like how the Prius has like the little like downshift, like kind of the like the brindle.
Throw in like a 3 on the tree right here.
Woo!
Now
Download
it's-
the power.
Now it's really serious. Steve is connecting and doing a lot of things right now. Looks like it's working. Moving forward is transferring another data block.
How many data blocks are there?
2 out of 9, so I'm guessing there's 9. This might take a minute. Since we have had every single thing on this car apart, all of the oil lines, the oil cooler was drained, the oil dry sump tank was removed and cleaned, plus the engine was rebuilt, there is 0 oil in the system except for in the tank now that we added the oil. So we disconnected the coils, we pulled all of the wiring for the coils so they won't fire, and we also disconnected the oil line off the turbo and put it into a bottle. So when we start cranking it, we can see when oil starts to come out and know that the engine has circulated all the oil around and it's ready to start. So you don't want to start it up and let it run for 10 to 20 to 30 seconds with 0 oil pressure, because it's just trying to get the oil moving around the system. So the very safe way. We might start it up and it might get oil pressure in a couple seconds and be all good, but we're not going to take any chances. Now we should be able to crank it, and hopefully 10 or 15 seconds we'll have some oil coming out of there.
That's where my water bottle went.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready?
Yeah.
Doesn't want to crank.
Wait, did we ever hook up the starter?
Did we?
I don't think so. I remember when I was down there earlier, it wasn't hooked up.
Well, that would have been a good time to let me know.
Tim.
Huh? I thought it was hooked up while I was gone.
What?
Good.
All right.
Now we're ready.
Let's try to start this thing.
Is there anything else that you remember that also needs to be hooked up?
No, not really.
All right. Let's hope we're successful this time. It's not going to start. It's just going to crank. That's what we want. Okay, you ready?
Yeah. Oh, your oil's coming now. Yeah. A little steady stream, should be good.
All right. Got oil pressure. That was pretty quick, less than 10 seconds. Pretty impressive that I was able to move all of that oil around the whole system. I'm sure there's still some air bubbles in the oil cooler, but that's not going to open up until later once the oil starts to get up to temperature. It's probably got a small hole to let oil start flowing through there. But either way, we got oil pressure in the bearings, which is what matters. So, man, that fuel smells terrible. I hope it'll start.
Bro, I'm a professional pourer. You know how much oil I put in my car every week?
How much actually do you put in your car every week?
No, it's every 2 weeks, but I put 1 quart.
Solid. Is it rotary?
Not yet. Let me tell you.
No way. Oh!
So close. Hey, Tim, here's your water bottle.
Oh, I don't want it anymore.
Mike!
Damn, I'm striking out today. It's like everything's pretty good, just not good enough. It's the moment of truth right now. So we got the coils hooked up. The turbo oil line is back on there. Everything's connected, I think. So it should start.
Tim, are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm watching the
Dude,
fluids.
it's gonna sound so crazy.
Oh, it's gonna be open downpipe. Pretty raw. Go ahead.
You ready, Mike?
Yep.
All right. Oh! Woo! Dude, it's alive.
Dude, you hear that rumble?
Sounds pretty mean.
Wait, that's an idle. Yeah. All right, so I'm moving the steering back and forth now to try to get the power steering fluid to circulate through the system and get all the air bubbles out. So cranking it back and forth, that'll bring all the bubbles up, and then we can add fluid so it doesn't run the pump dry and burn up the pump. Feels good, nice and smooth.
Look at that wheel work.
Shuffle. All right, so that looks okay right now. Cap that? Yeah, cap that for now. We'll check it again after the air gets out of it. That guy's full. Cap it for now. Let me turn on the heater so I can get the water circulating.
So Mike's running the heater, which whenever you pull your cooling system apart, it's a good idea to turn on your heater as well, because your cooling system is actually connected to your heater. Like even if you replace hoses for your heater core, always turn on the heater and run it and bleed the whole system.
It's obviously sucking down a little bit right now. Because everything is brand new, I'm not at all worried about smoke coming out of the exhaust because there's all the assembly lube in the engine. Obviously, you guys remember what the exhaust looked like. It was full of water. So all that stuff is just gonna be burning off right now. The good thing is that everything sounds really smooth. And yeah, I mean, it fired right up once it got some fuel into it. It's ready to go, so. Yeah. Baby, it's running.
I feel like it's Halloween already. He's got his little fog machine going.
Dude, it's fogging out of the wheel.
It's getting pretty smoky in here, so I'm gonna pull the car outside, put it on the block, and let it run out there for a bit and try to burn this stuff off.
First drive, brother.
First drive.
Dude, it sounds crazy. Oh, there's a fire over there. It's not me. First official drive on the block.
Dude. It's like I'm spinning tires already. It's smoked out. I am extremely excited right now. I just want this thing to warm up. We'll check all the fluids. I don't even care about the bodywork. Like I said, I'm just gonna drive this thing around because it's been a long time. I've been waiting for this moment and it's actually happening. The engine is in, it's running, and it's not just a stock engine. It's the 1,000 horsepower plus built engine with the PTG 1,000 horsepower turbos on it. This thing is sick.
You hear the turbos?
Mike, do that again. Yeah,
Dude!
that's pretty sick.
It's so cool, dude, because
How do we make them?
since it has all the RAM, you can hear the turbos in the front.
How do we get louder blow valves? I think it's these.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. They gotta make some that are a little bit more spicy, I think. I don't know, maybe Mike doesn't want that though. Mike's getting old.
Dude, the rumble, especially because there's no exhaust, it's just the downpipes. Like you feel the exhaust in the floor of the car.
I'm impressed, bro. It sounds crazy.
Sounds good. All right, it is time to take this AMG for the first drive. I gotta go out there on the streets of Compton right now and take this thing for a little spin. You can feel it wants to go already.
Yeah.
Chassis just feels so stiff. Even the side pillars, the trans tunnel, everything is really big and like boxed and really strong. But that's why they run these cars as race cars, like this chassis. Dude, that was like quarter throttle. Wow. Yeah, they're fast. And really crisp too.
Yeah.
I swear that's only like 20% throttle.
Dude, no
and the thing
way.
just wants to go. And I'm sure that Steve didn't put in the kill mode map yet. This is like the base
Yeah.
map. thing's a beast. And I mean, I want to give it full throttle, but I'm not. It was like no more, maybe half throttle, and it already rips. So I really need to drive this thing around and break in the engine so I can give it all the throttle and even turn up the map, add some more boost, add some E85 to this thing. It is, I'm like legitimately excited. This car is badass. Driving it for the first time, I was nervous, thinking like, man, we just spent all this money on it, all this time on it, and is it gonna be like something that I'm really going to enjoy? And yes, it is. First drive was absolutely amazing. We're missing all kinds of parts on the front end. It didn't matter. It sounds sick. Obviously, the bodywork and stuff needs to get handled next, but the drivetrain now is solid. I'm so pumped.
Dude, madness. Absolute madness. Congratulations, dude.
Woo! Thank you.
It's been a few months, a lot of work.
It has. It's been, you know, there's been a lot of ups and downs thinking, man, I got this car for a good deal. It's really cool. Pull the motor out, I'll rebuild it. And then we saw the inside of the engine and I was like, what did I get myself into? Luckily, PTG came to the rescue. They were able to save the engine. They were able to sleeve it and build this thing into an absolute monster. Dude, it's so sick. Tim, thank you.
No problem.
For your help.
Dude, just following you guys to get those shots with Mark. Dude, through the little tiny window that we had open in the truck,
yeah,
it sounded crazy. Like, and that's not even full boost. That's like,
it was like, I never went over half throttle.
Dude,
and
it sounded
over like $5,000.
Dude,
so,
it sounded insane.
I could hear it from in the car, like echoing off of the back of the truck.
Yeah.
And hearing it, I was like, yeah, it sounds sick. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Now my AMG is running. I just have to say a huge thanks to my partners that helped me achieve this. PTG for helping us out with getting the engine built and the turbos and the tune. KW for the suspension. CSF for the coolers. And FCP Euro for all the fluids, new rotors, new pads, actually new taillights too. So those are gonna go in because those taillights are wrecked and they look absolutely terrible. All of those companies came together to make my dream car happen, and it is here, it is running, and I am pumped.